Hi, I'm Adriana.
And I'm Julie. And I have autism.
And I don't.
Welcome to our neurotypical podcast.
Thanks for listening.
Yeah.
Hey everyone. Today we're going to talk about things that don't make sense to Julie.
Yes.
And things that make sense to me that don't make sense to her, or vice versa, right?
Yes.
So what are some things that us neurotypicals do that are very confusing to you? Are we just confusing creatures altogether?
Sometimes.
So one of the things that I've observed that is hard for Julie to understand are memes. If I try to show her one, she's like, wait.
What does it mean?
And then by the time I've explained it, sometimes she's
no
like...
no longer funny.
It's either no longer funny, or sometimes she's like, well, why is that funny?
And by that time, it would be funny for me, but not funny for you.
By that time, I'm teaching a lecture on memes. I'm a college professor of memes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Another thing Julie doesn't understand is purses.
I mean, I put everything in my pocket that I need. So I don't always carry my backpack around, so that's why I don't understand purses.
I love purses.
But, I mean, I guess I sort of understand why people wear it, kind of like a fashion statement or something.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not my fashion statement.
True.
I mean, I'm still learning about the whole fashion stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's a lot.
I'm
very used to my same routines. And I understand that, but you don't understand that.
Yeah. So how has your fashion been over the years in regards to your autism?
I would usually wear similar things all the time. I would have a kind of like a uniform for each day of the week.
She used to have her Monday shirt, Tuesday, Thursday, and then for the weekends, she has like a set of shirts known as
my volunteer shirts.
And these are shirts that she's acquired from volunteering.
I love them because I never told anyone that the reason why I wear my volunteer shirt is because I find great pride in them of my success for that time I volunteered. And so
I never knew that.
They make me really happy.
Every weekend, she will wear her set of volunteer shirts along with her designated weekend pants.
Yeah, so that's why you don't understand.
Oh, the other thing is your socks.
Oh yeah, I have all of my socks, and they have to be paired correctly.
Mm-hmm.
Even when I have a whole stack of black socks,
she knows which socks belong together, even though to me they all look the same.
They're not paired correctly, then it will throw off my whole day because I know something is not right, even though they're from the same line of black socks.
Yeah.
But some may be worn more than others, so you have to look at the texture and the color and the fade, if they fade. Mm-hmm. And make sure that they match up very well, and those details are important to me, or else it will not work.
How was your relationship to clothing and routine when you were in high school and college?
It was very easy in grade school because you just have 5 pairs of red or blue shirts, mm-hmm. and then you have your khaki pants. In college, I had a little bit of freedom. Mm-hmm. I mean, I still wore some of my uniform stuff in college.
Like what?
My shirt.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Did you get made fun of?
I think there were times when, I did wear this one hoodie all the time because I was just comfortable in it. And there were times when my friends would say that they almost didn't recognize me without my hoodie, mm-hmm. because I had taken it off one time. Some of my friends would say that I was like a hobo chic, because whenever I had special occasions, I would dress up very nicely. But whenever I was just focusing on my interests, I didn't care about the way I dressed, so I just wear whatever. Whenever I did dress up, people are always very, very surprised whenever I do.
Are you getting better with it?
Yeah, I think so.
I think so too. I've noticed.
Well, I think where I work is very inspiring in that way, because they inspire me to see the world of fashion and also design. It's very interesting. It's almost like an art. I do have a story. My very first interview that I had. So one time I had one of my professors that I was working for, who's now my friend. He told me that one of his friends would like me to work for him, and I was like, okay. And he set up an interview for me, and what happened was I said okay, and he gave me the date, and I went to go see him at his firm, and I went in. I didn't know anything about how I should dress up for an interview or anything.
And even just to know like what's expected of you.
But so whenever I got into the interview, his friend was very shocked in a way, and I wasn't sure why at the moment. And
what were you wearing?
I was wearing things I wore from college, and it was just...
Did your hoodie make an appearance?
Yes, it did, because it was something that kept me comfortable, and I was going to meet this person for the first time, and I wasn't ready, so the only thing that gave me comfort was my little hoodie jacket, and they had a resume in front of them, and he asked me, okay, what do you bring to the table? And I was like, well, I guess I didn't understand what he was saying, and so I said, well, what you see is what you get. What do you want? I don't know what you want.
Because you thought he literally meant what do you bring to the table that you were sitting at?
Yeah, and I was like, I didn't bring anything other than this paper, this resume, and so I took it very literal. We shook hands, and then I went to the vehicle and drove away.
And what did you think leaving the interview? Were you like, that went very well?
I wasn't sure what I thought. I was like, that was very strange. I don't understand any of this. About a week later, so by this time, he and his friend had a lunch or something, and he sat there, and when we were working on a project while listening to NPR, he lowered down the NPR radio station, and he said, hey, Julie, have you ever been to an interview? And I was like, no. I was like, do you know how to dress for an interview? I was like, no. So he was like, okay, well.
Normally these things, like, I feel like the way I learned about interviews was just by, like, watching people do them, like, in movies and things like that. Or, like, you know, you just kind of know. It's, like, one of those things that you just
but I've never had that experience, so...
Yeah. It's very different.
Yeah. We had that conversation, and then he said that, hey, how about you go see him again? And maybe wear a few cool things. So we flipped through some magazines together. He showed me some interesting clothing and stuff.
Yeah.
So I just went home and got dressed and went back for another interview and got hired on the spot, and they told me to come work. And what ended up happening was that I ended up working for him and his wife, and their studios were next door to each other. One was art and one was architecture.
Do you think there's anything that, like, employers can do that make it easier? if you ever had to interview?
Yeah, well, I think simple questions are very easy. Straightforward questions are, are usually answered with straightforward answers. Because if you kind of make things sound like it could be many different questions, that could be difficult. And then you won't get the result that you want as an interviewer, because that's not the answer you want to hear, because you're getting many. It's kind of like a broad question. You want to like narrow it down.
I believe that in order for neurotypicals to really make the interview process accessible, it has to be accepted that eye contact is not imperative to a great interview. Have that expectation that not everyone will give eye contact. Because I feel like that's something that could be, I guess, misconstrued as being rude in an interview when the person may not try to be.
I will give you a example of myself with eye contact.
Okay.
Eye contact is very difficult for me. People have this saying that if you don't make eye contact, what is it that you're hiding? Well, I don't have anything to hide, and more so than ever, usually whenever I look us out in the opening or not towards the person, it's because I'm processing and thinking of things. And in my mind, I can see what I'm talking about. Even if I'm looking at you, I could be like in my mind thinking of something else and trying to tell it as I see it. And it's not meant to be like in any rude fashion or anything like that. Whenever I do eye contact, if I give eye contact, it is the most difficult and most nerve-wracking thing ever. And you will start to see my eyes tear up for no reason. Okay, but there is a reason. But to the person, there would be like, why is she crying? Why is she crying?
But you're not crying. You're just having to do the eye contact.
Yeah, I'm not. Internally, I just have this nervousness to. The eye contact gives me nervousness, and I don't mean to make other people uncomfortable because my eyes are tearing, and I don't want them to think I'm crying and thought as weak or something like that. I'm not weak because I know that I'm not. I have so much to say, and I just that's just something that's difficult for me, and I can understand. I mean,
for like the person giving the interview, they could think that you're
very little or weak
or
rude, or I don't understand why you're crying.
And that's a big barrier.
Yeah.
Like, how do you find a way around that?
Yeah.
You don't.
But I'm not gonna say that my very last interview, I did maybe have a little bit of emotional connection to one of the questions, and I did maybe express some emotions, and that doesn't mean that, it just means that I am a person with feelings, and that's not, people with feelings are not scared to show that they have emotions, and they shouldn't be taken as like, oh, just because you have feelings, then you're thought as someone who cannot handle things. And that is not true, because the people with great feelings are stronger than you think. They carry a lot of weight on them, and that's why they're very strong.
Chinese bamboo, it's very strong.
It's very strong.
So going into your so do you think that you would ever disclose your autism before an interview? Like, just to be like, for someone who really can't fake things, and it's like, who can't make eye contact, or, I'm just trying to think, like, even just to make just to make the whole question and everything be fair. Well, because those are things that can disqualify somebody with autism that when they're fully capable of doing the job.
Well, there are certain companies out there that are willing to hire people on the spectrum, which is wonderful, and, letting them know that is, I think it's a wonderful thing. But to some companies who don't, and I believe this, that when people aren't aware, they don't know what they're really looking for in an individual unless this individual works for them for some time and get to know them and understand their value to the company or to the firm, and what they bring to the table. What they bring to the table.
Yeah.
Because
it shouldn't always have to be the autistic person's job.
Well, yeah.
We should be actively trying to create a world where the interview process is equal and neurodiverse.
Yeah. That's the goal.
That's the goal.
That's the goal, to make everything in unity and to merge the two and blur the lines.
Yeah. So, okay, there is somebody out there who's autistic and maybe has a job interview. What is your advice? To that person?
I would tell them, don't be afraid. Just be honest. When I've gone to interviews, I've never told people that I was autistic or anything like that, because whether I'm autistic or not, it's a good thing that maybe people learn down the line. But I also don't want them to see that only. I want them to see past who I am, who I truly am, and see my talents, and see my skills, my interests, and all those things that make such an important thing in this world. Honestly, the autism community, we have a lot of unemployment, and it's not because they're not capable or smart enough to do it. It's just that it just all comes down to whether people are giving them opportunity or chances. And if that's not happening, then of course they're not going to have they're not going to be able to work. And chances are, without those opportunities, individuals on the spectrum will come down to depression and other things that could cause trouble. If you have an interview coming up, please talk to someone who's gone to an interview.
Ask all the questions.
Ask some questions. Go to someone you trust and just tell them, look, I have autism. I may be very straightforward, or I may not know what their questions are asking. I may not know how to answer these questions without seeming like I don't understand them, when I really do deep down, and have them walk you through it, and then have them act like an interviewer to kind of create this reenactment or something, so it can help you become a better candidate for
surviving the interview.
Yeah, I learned the hard way, but it's
made a good story.
But I have a lot of lesson learned in my life. if I've never had these experiences, I wouldn't know if I ever did anything right or wrong.
It's also okay to fail.
Yes. Never be afraid to fail, because the only way you can grow is to go through those things.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I had difficult times when I thought failure was not okay, but I've learned over time that everyone does. And you give yourself time to process, and you give your time to forgive yourself and to grow from it. And that is all you can do, because they say that life is too short. You just gotta go with the flow.
That's what they say?
Yeah. I also didn't know what that meant. I was like, where are we flowing? Where are we gonna go?
Where's the flow going?
Where's the flow?
And where does the flow come from?
Lots of questions.
I've learned over the years to ask questions like you do.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's some of the things that I didn't understand in...
And then we ended up talking about interviews.
Yeah.
Which is a good topic.
Yeah. Which is very good, because we all need to know how to do it. You know, life is full of questions. No one has the right answers. Just ask it anyways. Someone's bound to answer. A lot of it has to do with your gut too, right? Mm-hmm. Your insides.
Instinct.
Yeah, and follow what you think feels right. And if something doesn't seem right, then you know
it's not.
It's not. Okay.
Thanks so much for listening, everyone.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening to us ramble.
And singing.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
We have to tell them to follow us on Instagram at the Neurotypical Podcast. Yeah. Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, Spotify, SoundCloud, all the things, and that's where you will find us. Okay. You ready to sing them off?
Yes.
Thanks for listening to the Neurotypical Podcast today. Yeah.